Today, I'm going to show you how to stream Call of Duty Modern Warfare on a single PC using arguably ancient gear. In this channel, I really hope to help people maximize their hardware, understand the technology that goes into creating a live stream, any production, broadcast, YouTube video, whatever. And I really hope to show how you can do it on a budget, how you can do it yourself, how you can do it with a friend. There's so much compute capability out there. All you have to do is reach out and use it. Many people today have PCs in their house, in their lives, that they have access to, that can do everything that they need. And yet the inkling is to go out and buy the latest and greatest whatever. So today, I'm going to show you how to stream Call of Duty Modern Warfare on a single PC using arguably ancient gear. So within this desktop, I'm going to show you how to stream any other AAA game of this type, right? That's pretty CPU and graphics intensive through OBS and not drop any frames, right? So let's take a look at my settings real quick. So within the settings, we're going to go look at the output. And our output, we can see it's set up for Twitch streaming, which is a nice preset for pretty much everything. My quality is set to speed, which is, arguably could be set to balanced or quality for that matter. But I find speed is perfectly acceptable, especially for streaming. Where 90% of the people who are watching your stream are doing so on a mobile device, they're not seeing a degradation in quality because you are using a faster encoding process. And if they are, well, you can buy better hardware to up that ante. But at the using my older hardware, it just makes sense to set this to quality preset. My target bitrate is 6144, which is 6,000, effectively 6,000. 6 times 10 to 24 is 6144. This is where things get interesting. So I have two graphics cards. I have two RX 580s. Now, most folks would be inclined to set up the two graphics cards in crossfire mode, or SLI, if you will, and that would allow you to leverage the power of both graphics cards. However, not very many games are set up to take advantage of both graphics cards, so you're pretty much only running on one anyways. So in my case, I'm not using it in SLI. I have a single graphics card for 3D processing, right? The desktop and 3D processing, and I have a secondary graphics card, which I'm going to be using for dedicated encoding. Here are the two device IDs, sub IDs, and whatnot. You may be asking, well, how do I understand which device goes where? And what device should I choose? Well, it's actually pretty simple to tell. Within the AMD side of the house, you get the AMD control panel, right? The Catalyst control panel, and it looks something like this. If I'm on settings and take a look at my system settings, I can see my hardware, right? First GPU, primary, discrete. Second GPU, discrete. The first one we don't want to touch. That's the one that's going to be playing our game and making sure that our desktop stays up and running. The second one is the one we want to leverage. So in order to identify it correctly, we just simply take the device ID and the subsystem ID. And then we come over here into OBS and select our device. Device ID, subsystem ID. In our case, we have a device ID of 67DF, subsystem ID E387. So we just 67DF, E387. It's that simple. Apply, save, and we're done. Now our encoder is ready. Now I can't actually show you the ramp up because I'm recording the video right now through OBS to show it all working. But over here, we can actually take a look at our performance and what we're doing. So our CPU is running. We can see that it's running at 3.45 gigahertz at roughly 50% utilization. I can also see GPU 0 is doing its thing, which is doing mostly 3D processing and has its dedicated memory for the 3D processing. And then I have GPU 1, which is doing 0 3D processing and 75% video encoding. And this is the magic, right? This is how we make it possible to stream a AAA game like Call of Duty Modern Warfare / Warzone, we have a dedicated GPU for encoding. So this is all on one PC. That's really what we need to highlight here. This is all being taken care of on the one machine. The conventional wisdom has been that you need two PCs. A two PC setup is what you need to be able to stream this game. Well, if you have a gaming PC that you've spent good money on, let's call it $1,000 just for even easy numbers, you're talking about buying another machine that has similar capabilities so that you can stream the games you play on the first machine. Now, your streaming PC doesn't need to be equally powerful as your gaming PC. However, it does need to have certain properties in order to do all of the video encoding. So if you had a system that resembles anything like mine, which you probably do, whether it be an Intel or AMD processor, you probably have 4 to 8 cores with 8 or 16 threads. So you have something that is just like what I'm running now. And with that, you'd be able to add a secondary graphics card. I have a 1,000-watt PSU in this machine, and it's capable of supporting the CPU, the board, everything running, and 2 graphics cards, and with a lot of headroom to spare. If you've bought a modern gaming PC, you probably also have a 1,000-watt power supply. But even if you don't, and you have to upgrade your power supply to get a second graphics card into your gaming PC, a second graphics card and a new PSU is a hell of a lot cheaper than a whole new computer. I mean, that's worth repeating. A second graphics card and a better power supply is cheaper than a new computer. Right? It's less power, it's less cabling, it's less cable management. You don't need a second monitor. You don't need a second keyboard and mouse. You don't need a KVM switch. You don't need any of these things. All you need is another graphics card that you will dedicate to video encoding. Pretty simple. I mean, we are streaming Call of Duty Modern Warfare right now while I'm making this video. And we can see that I have 11 frames dropped, which some may argue any frames dropped is bad. I would argue that 11 frames dropped and the time it has taken me to record this video is negligible, completely negligible. So again, back to our setup. We know our graphics card. We have the two. They're both running. I have the process monitor here so that we can just keep a close eye on how everything is going while we are playing the game. And I will go and jump into a BR solo. And we'll try it out. Just for the sakes of argument, I'm going to go ahead and reset our counter and take away the preview mode here. And I'm doing it intentionally right now, right? We are streaming the game, we're getting into a new match, and I have taken away the preview mode. And if you've noticed, our average render time has dropped to 1.9 milliseconds, 2.4 milliseconds, down from 3, right? So it's important to note, our render time has dropped because the preview is off. And I'm playing the game in a windowed mode, which requires more VRAM to do. If you were playing the game and you were doing it in full screen mode, and OBS was running in the background, and you were controlling your scenes with an Elgato Stream Deck or something of that nature, you don't need a preview mode. You could turn that off. And that saves time to render. Time to render means less frames dropped, means a better overall experience. Let's go murk some fools. That was fantastic. That guy stuck up on us. Oh, you know what I realized? I have not enabled audio for the gameplay. Let's go ahead and turn that on so you can actually hear what I'm doing as I'm doing it. BR solo mode, here we come! You get to watch some terrible Modern Warfare gameplay because I don't play this game very often and I'm not very good at it.
Avoid the gas. Get to the safe zone.
Downtown is a terrible place to drive.
That's our DC.
So, where are we at right now? We've dropped around 70 frames total for this entire stream. And I have been flipping back and forth between windows, which is important to note because the game in a windowed mode requires more VRAM than it would if I was running in full screen. And flipping between windows actually has a negative effect on overall memory usage. Oh, and I died. To the gulag! Yeah, flipping between windows has a negative effect on overall rendering. And so you will see some frame drop due to me flipping across windows.
You're in the gulag now. Fight to
But overall, things are working arguably flawlessly.
Get ready to fight. You're next. Listen up, soldier. Win here and you return to the front line. But if you lose, you're done. You're up, soldier. Now go, soldier.
Boom!
Stand by for redeployment.
To the hospital with us. That was a bad idea. I should not have taken that pop shot off at him. Terrible gun. Oh yeah, we suck.
Fought hard out there. Return to
Yep. That's how Warzone goes for me. The point isn't to play the game. The point is to show how to play the game and how to stream it on a single PC setup with your lovely face. So that's that. The stream is over. The gameplay is over. And we have successfully single PC streamed our game. You can see the overall effects on the GPU for 3D rendering. This is our gameplay. You can see the overall effects on video encoding. This is our OBS. And you can see the overall effects of our CPU, of our stock Ryzen 7 1700X. Again, a first generation Ryzen CPU that has not been overclocked. It's not, there's no special components here. It's water cooled, but it's that's kind of par for the course these days. It's so it's a pretty bare bones basic system that you could arguably get for way less than $1,000 these days. And it is capable of being able to play the game and stream simultaneously. That's going to do it for today's video. Until next time, come hang out with us on stream. We're on Facebook Gaming, Peznauts. Check us out. I'd love to see you there. Hit us up in the comments if you have questions about this video, any video, or if you have technical questions about setting up your own camera equipment, stream, computers, desktop, networking, etc. Let me know. I'm really having a great time diving into the technical side of all this streaming stuff. I hope you liked the video. Thumbs up if you do. Thumbs down if you don't. Hit the notification bell, and I will see you in the next one.